The following is brought to you by paulakers.net.
So the last 2 days have been quite amazing. Woke up early in the morning and going to the Skiji fish market. But on the way out, saw a great construction site. And these guys have fans built into their jackets. And when I got to the market, they had a lot of beautiful knives. The Japanese are just masters at making knives and using knives. Just incredible. On the outside of that job site, though, they actually had flowers built into the side of the walls, identifying all the different flowers that they were using. And this is just for public people walking down the street in front of a job site. Look how perfect the wall is. Everything is just so cool in Japan. This is the Skiji fish market. This is the original one. Went inside, got some amazing sushi prepared early in the morning, and then lots of all kinds of crazy fish, everything you could imagine. The Japanese are like ape crazy about fish. Now this is a piece of ahi tuna, and he just took off a tiny little piece because it wasn't quite perfect enough, and he cuts off a small piece for the customer to try out to make sure it's perfect, and it is like candy. And then they sell dishes. Now the Japanese are crazy. They're fanatical about so many things. There's just a fanatical culture in a good way, and they're fanatical about dishes. When you talk about, in a single serving, you could have 10 different dishes, all different colors, all hand painted, different dishes for your tea, for coffee, for your soy sauce. It's just crazy how they're into the artistry of dishes. Now this guy is really crazy. He's got octopus. He puts in a little batter, puts it on this grill, and then squishes it down like a pancake. And this is like a real treat for Japanese people. They just love it this way. He scrapes it up off the grill. This thing used to be a regular octopus about 30 seconds ago, and then the families dig in and everybody loves it. Then they make these really cool fluffy omelets by flipping them over and over and over again until they build them up to a certain thickness. And then there's just all kinds of great sushi and sashimi, and another knife store that was just mind-boggling. And one of the guys was teaching one of the students how to sharpen a knife, and I had to get that because if you ever use a Japanese knife, it's just amazing how sharp they are. Then I stopped by this hotel to check it out, and they actually have all different kinds of pillows, all different softnesses, and you can try those all out. And I got the taxi cab driver to lower the front seat. That was my Kaizen, my improvement, so I could see better, because the cars in Japan, there's so many sexy cars there too, this beautiful Porsche. Then I go by this job site, and they're filling it up with a couple yards of concrete, this thing, and lifting it up. And I noticed they've got tarps down on the road, and they're not spilling one drop of concrete. It's like a pit crew. Their work is perfect, and I mean not one drop of concrete. I can't imagine any other culture in the world we'd have concrete all over the place, but these guys do it to perfection. They stage it just like a pit crew, and the next truck comes in, they fill the thing up, and they pick it back up and lift it up, and they pour the pillars on this big high-rise. And then they don't want any splatter potentially get on the road, and they hold up a curtain in front of it, and then they clean it all off. They clean out the truck right there, and not one drop of water goes on the ground. They've drained it all into a little container, and they just do perfect work. It's just crazy. Time after time, one truck after another just pulls up. They keep lifting this thing up, and literally not one drop of concrete anywhere. Could you imagine? I spray paint something, I get paint all over the place, and these guys are doing hundreds of yards of concrete, and everything is flawless. Just incredible. Not a speck anywhere. And then he came out, and I asked him about the little fan in his coat, and he showed me the little battery pack, and they've all got fans in their coats which keep them cool, and it's got a little Ondon light on this huge concrete container. Then I went to the office building where General MacArthur had his office right across from the Imperial Palace in 1945. He stayed in this insurance building, and his office has been closed for 20 years. I got inside, it was just like stepping back in history. This is the steps I'm sure that MacArthur went up. Just really amazing. And this is MacArthur coming out of that building. This actual footage of him coming out, and the Japanese children singing happy birthday to him. He was very popular because, remember, the Allies didn't conquer, they didn't occupy, they just rebuilt the country. And after 7 years, MacArthur left, and 200,000 people lined the streets of Japan to see him off. They loved him a lot. He did a lot of good for Japan, and Japan is just a powerhouse now. When you think about what it was like after the war and what it's like now, it's just so incredible. and MacArthur was the one in charge. And I asked the security guard what office was his, and he took me outside and he pointed up and he said, "That's MacArthur's office. That was the window right there." He'd been working there a long time. And another really amazing car. Again, you think about where Japan's been and where it's come. I stopped by a Birkenstock store and bought some Birkenstock. I noticed their shoelaces were straight across. I go, I don't want them straight across. So I had to do my little Kaizen on mine. I bought some and I changed them so they're more arched to match the shoe a little bit better. And then when I was going outside, I saw this guy pulling a bike off a rack. Very popular riding bikes in Japan. And then I had to take a helicopter ride all over downtown Tokyo at night just to really appreciate how big this city is. To think about 20 million people, the thing's sparkling clean, everybody gets along, everything works, everything's on time. It's just incredible. And then a baseball game. You haven't been to a baseball game until you've been to a Japanese baseball game. They're absolutely crazy. But I have to tell you, 2 years ago I went and they were crazy, but now they're a little more subdued with this COVID thing. Everyone's wearing masks and they're not supposed to talk too loud. And before they were always kind of carrying on, but not so much anymore. They still have a good time, but it's just not as robust and crazy. The cheerleaders are good. They're a lot of fun to watch and stuff. But the crowds are not nuts like they used to be because of the COVID thing, unfortunately. But it was a good time and I learned a lot, watched a lot, had a lot of fun, ate a lot of crazy food because the Japanese love to eat, and they all have these big long camera lenses and they're constantly taking pictures. Just crazy. Japan is just a crazy place, but such a good time and so much to learn, so much to experience in Tokyo.